Mason, here is the front side of my note card. This is the front side of the card. This is the back side of the note card. Now I'm gonna give a little scan of my surroundings. It's just me. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. Okay. In the spring of 2022, I came out to my peers, my family, and my friends as a bisexual woman. Within that time, I was met with an outpour of support coming from within the classroom, the home, and also the workplace. Since coming out as a bi woman, I have really enjoyed being able to give that support to my peers within the classroom. However, I'm able to understand that the topic of homosexuality or sexual orientation is considered to be offensive or controversial within the classroom. On February 24th, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida signed a law known as the Do Not Say Gay bill into law. In order to understand this bill and what it means, we need to know who Ron DeSantis is. In March, Ron DeSantis has been governor since 2019. In March, Ron DeSantis signed a bill that made it harder to use drop boxes for mail ballots. The Democratic Party warns that this could disenfranchise Black voters, specifically Black Democratic voters. He also signed a bill that cracks down on civil unrest, giving police more abilities to do what they see fit. Again, frightening the Democratic Party and claiming could disenfranchise the Black civilians. The same governor also claimed that he would cancel the AP African American Studies course if they did not change the materials, claiming that the materials were not appropriate to discuss in the classroom. The Democratic Party responds to all these things with fear, claiming Ron DeSantis is racist, claiming that he is trying to control what goes on in the classroom. Now, all of these things we can see come off as really extremist right wing and can aid to some of that outpour of anger that we see to the Do Not Say Gay bill. Now that we know what can aid to that outpour, it's time that we know what that bill is. The Do Not Say Gay bill is. So sorry. So something we need to know is that on the right-winged side, this bill is known as the Parents' Rights and Education Bill. In this bill, it's required for staff to notify students' parents if those students are being helped with mental, emotional, or physical health services, unless they assume that those kids are going to go home to abusive environments. Parents are able to sue for violations of the law, and the classroom is not allowed to have instruction on LGBTQ characters of any kind, even if it's real life historical figures. As you can imagine, a bill like this can have some serious repercussions, and the biggest one that we see is fear spread throughout the country. Some of those fears is that the bill is too vague. It makes it to where parents are able to have a bigger say as to what goes on in the classroom, gives administration less privilege as to what they teach in their own facilities. Another fear is a lack of exposure of this LGBTQ community will cause more homophobia within ecology due to ignorance. We also see that there's a bigger divide between the Republican and Democratic Party, which is a really dangerous problem to have because at the end of the day, we are all American. Though it may seem really easy to pick a side after these facts, it's important that we know where the extremist right wings are coming from. So something to keep in mind is that they claim that the sexual education is being taught too young. Sexual orientation is being taught too young. Sexuality as a whole is being taught too young, making children feel like they need to pick one at a specific time. They also claim it makes children deal with these things at an age they shouldn't need to deal with, and because it's brought in such an understanding light or such a positive light or a lack of a negative light, it forces these kids to see something in a specific way. And so that's one argument to it. So the next thing to keep in mind now that we see both sides from it is what's being done to stop these bills from happening from the Democratic Party. And the biggest thing we see are protests, all types of protests. We see people walking around with signs saying, we say gay, we are gay, we support gay. We also see walkouts in schools. And this is done as type of a coy thing because we see the whole argument here is that kids are going to school and learning about things too early. And so the response is to take kids out of school to protest. And so my visual representation right now is going to be protest. And we see exactly, as I said, say gay, say gay, say gay. The complete opposite of what the bill is known to be about. Though I myself struggle to picture what my experience would have been like had I been prohibited from talking about coming out within the classroom. I see both sides and I see why it's a controversial topic, though I have my own opinion on the matter. I think the one thing that's become crystal clear to me within the topic is that Republican and Democrats are also American, and it's important if we want to come out of this as with the viewpoint of us all being American, that we're educated on what all those things are. And so if we look back on this speech, we recognize that we looked at what the bill was, who wrote the bill, what the consequences of the bill was, what both viewpoints of the bill is, and things that are being done to stop bills like this being passed. Thank you for your time, and I hope you feel confident enough to talk about this bill if you are asked.